Zach Neto is having a breakout year for the LA Angels, and man, at just 24 years old, he has already been one of the best shortstops in baseball. I think he's having a very underrated year, and personally, I think if he was healthier maybe towards the beginning of the season, he would have definitely been an all-star in the American League this year. I mean, he's arguably the Angels' best player slash hitter, as their leadoff man. He's pretty much been their leadoff man for most of the year. Obviously, you'd like to see that batting average probably get a little bit higher, but he's been an amazing hitter, and he's been very clutch at times as well. He's been definitely hitting more for power, especially over the past year, but just a very solid hitter, man. Zach Neto is just an amazing MLB player. That's really the best way to put it. And he had a 2020 year in his first full MLB season in 2024. You can see the stats up on the screen, and likely by the time either this video goes up or by the end of the season, definitely going to have another 2020 season again. Over 20 home runs and over 20 steals. Like I said, his speed, his athleticism, especially his defense at the shortstop position. He's already one of the best shortstops in the American League. So young, so talented, and I hope he stays with the Angels for a very, very long time. And the thing is too, Zach Neto, he's also amazing defensively. I believe he's turned the most double plays in the MLB. Angels pitching, they generate a lot of ground balls, and Zach Neto, he's turned a lot of double plays this year, but even then, hey, one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball. Very, very fun to watch. I can't imagine where the Angels would be without Zach Neto this year. They've obviously had a lot of guys step up this year, whether it's, Nolan Schanuel. They've had Taylor Ward, who's had a career year in home runs and RBIs. But Zach Neto, I think, has been the catalyst, to the Angels, staying competitive throughout most of this 2025 season. Like I said, his defense at shortstop, his hitting, he's been the perfect guy as a leadoff man. He's, had cold and hot stretches here and there, but for the most part, man, been very consistent, been a solid hitter, can hit for power, singles, doubles, whatever you need out of Zach Neto, he can get it done. I think a big thing with Zach Neto too, especially over the past year, he changed his batting stance compared to his rookie year. He kind of used to have a leg kick. I should have a picture up on the screen to show you guys, but now he kind of turns his left foot in with a little kind of short quick step, and he makes sure to kind of lean back, make sure to generate as much power as he possibly can. But yeah, kind of a big switch in a way to kind of, switch from a big leg kick to now kind of a little short, quick step, kind of turning, like I said, turning that left foot in. But it's really worked for him, man. He's really starting to break out as a hitter, and I can see him definitely making these incremental improvements, getting closer to that 300 batting average, hopefully within the next couple of years. And of course, the other big thing with Zach Neto, he's going to need to stay healthy a little bit more consistently. He kind of was dealing with a shoulder injury throughout this 2025 season, and I believe his rookie season in 2023 got cut short as well due to an injury. But he's really shown that when he can stay healthy, not only can he hit for power, but he obviously is a threat to steal bases. He's amazing defensively, and he's been great as a leadoff guy all year, and he's already one of the top shortstops in baseball. And he's already one of the best shortstops in Angels franchise history. And if there's anybody on this, great Angels young core that I hope the Angels keep for a long time, I hope it is Zach Neto. I think he's really shown that, look, he is the shortstop of the future, but also he's the shortstop of now. He's exactly what they need at the leadoff spot, at the shortstop position. He's going to be perfect for this team long term, but obviously the Angels already have a great young core, with Nolan Schanuel, Logan O'Hoppe, and of course, you have Christian Moore as well. So a lot of good things definitely to be excited about with this Angels roster, especially with their young core. And I think the one terrifying thing is, look, the Angels young core is playing super well and improving drastically and quickly. And, their kind of quick draft and call-up strategy has really worked well to develop players, right? Maybe it's not the most, orthodox strategy in the sense, right? Like normally, you have, your draft picks develop, let's say in the minors for, let's say, 3 to 4 years, maybe a little bit shorter depending, on the player. But the Angels have kind of had a successful strategy, I would say. They quickly draft players and then they've called them up very shortly after, and it's worked with Zach Neto, with Nolan Schanuel, and now, we'll kind of see how Christian Moore develops, but it has been a strategy that I would say has worked decently well for the Angels. They've homegrown a lot of players, and, we'll see kind of what they continue to do as far as, let's say drafting big league ready players and then, developing them in the big leagues. I would say it's worked. It's a unique and maybe unorthodox strategy, but it has really worked. And if Angels continue to do this, man, they're going to have a team full of young talent to surround Trout with, and I think could be back in the playoffs next year. Of course, haven't been in the playoffs since 2014. This year has probably been their best chance to do that, though it's kind of looking unlikely at the moment. But man, with how well the Angels' young core is developing, they could be, a force to be reckoned with in the American League for a long time. I know the Angels are not a team many people are talking about, as a potential powerhouse in the American League, but they have such a young core, and obviously, if Trout is able to stay healthy over the next couple of years, this team really has a chance, I think, to, break out in the American League. I think the American League is very wide open right now, and if the Angels can continue, developing their young core, Zach Neto can keep making strides, Nolan Shinewell can keep making strides, Logan O'Hoppe, Christian Moore. This roster is going to be forced to be reckoned with, especially, if they continue to improve their pitching. They got some solid pitchers on the roster, guys that have developed well, so we'll see, man. But that's the one terrifying thing. I wanted to highlight Zach Neto. Had a great season so far, and we'll see how he ends off this 2025 year. But he's definitely in a breakout year, and he's on track to be one of the best shortstops in baseball, not just in the American League. And I hope he is an all-star next year for the Angels. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.